So a lot of this is going to be grade dependent. From my experience, these kinds of conversations are a little more challenging for families with kiddos of younger generations, where those first and second grade um, items present themselves that are a little bit more complex, and perhaps not every parent is ready to hear those things yet. I think by the time we get to middle years or high school, we maybe know our people a little bit more from a family perspective, and we've come to terms with who they are as people and learners. So those conversations are a little bit different by the time they get on in their years. Be expecting surprises to be met with denial at first, maybe a little bit of hostility from families. That's all normal if those are a little bit earlier on in their years, because people have ideas of what their kids were going to look like. And if things are presenting perhaps a little bit away from that path, it can be challenging for parents to want to accept that. Like anything else, relationships are going to matter. Relationships matter with students. Relationships matter with families. When it comes time to have conversations around, hey, your kiddo is achieving in terms of growth really well along this pathway, but maybe not against the curriculum, the curricular outcome expectations, it always helps if they have that trust with you, if they know who you are. So one of the things I always suggest is to invest in those relational times up front. You've got to meet the teacher right off the bat, but if you can make any connection, or in the case of families whose kiddos have been identified to you as perhaps needing a little bit of differentiation more often, if you can connect with them a few times right off the bat, just so they can build up who this person is. I trust that person. I'm glad my kid is with that person. Those things go a long way in navigating those more challenging conversations later. The team-based approaches are also going to be of benefit. So don't be afraid to lean on your school support team. So that's your LRT, your principal, last year's classroom teacher. If it's a high school setting, obviously there would be a different kind of dynamic there that you might want to wrap around. But the idea is that you're not on an island, you're not alone, and people in the building know who the students are, even if you don't. They will identify those people for you in an ideal world. If you haven't heard anything about any of your students before the kids get there, and you have that opportunity at the beginning of the year, or you're backfilling a contract later on, go meet your LRT and ask about it. Run down the roster. Hey, who are my people? Do I need to know anything about these people before the year starts? Not an exhaustive list, but just something to kind of keep your eye on, so that when you see things present themselves in the first few weeks, you kind of have a context for understanding about what you're looking at. The focus needs to be on growth when it comes time to have these conversations. So we're talking about highlighting for families what today looked like for their kid in relation to yesterday, right? This is going to be a conversation that may not be as focused on the curriculum, but more on, hey, this is the plan we made, whether it was a student support plan or whether it was a record of adaptations that set out some goals, like, they're going to be able to do X so often, and hey, they are. This is where we want to focus a light and kind of shine a little bit of attention on, and kind of build this young person up and have those conversations in that way. This is, I've noticed in my time, particularly important for all families, but it seems to come up with some families who are new to Canada, maybe made some sacrifices to bring their kids to an education system in a setting that they thought was going to be better for their young people, and maybe their young person is not presenting in the way that their family had hoped. And when it comes time to have those challenging conversations around, especially when it comes time to have path-related conversations around, like, as we head into high school, what their futures are going to look like, we really want to focus on the strength-based approach and build up these students and talk about, look at all the things they already can do, and this is the way that they are succeeding. These are their interests. This is how they're going to find success for the rest of their life. Even though parents might need to, and families might need to, work through the fact that their understanding of what they thought their kids' success would look like might look a little different. And I don't want to make it sound like that's only a conversation that's for new Canadians. It happens across the board. It's just perhaps more highlighted there because they're a little bit less familiar with our system and the expectations within it. And then I just say that those conversations around the path decisions need to be navigated carefully because there are consequences attached to that, and certain doors can open, certain doors can shut, and we have a role to play when we're having those conversations, but it's one that needs to be gotten to for families over a long period of time, and certainly throughout conversations with, hey, your kid's doing really well in reference to themselves, but maybe not where they should be grade level wise. We don't want surprises, right? Families don't want surprises. Nothing should jump out at them. And again, those are conversations that are initiated in the younger years and sort of fill themselves out as they move along. So it's a school-based team approach that works best here in this conversation.